Oh, hello, it is I, your boy Gomi, and we are hot off UFC 297, the first pay-per-view of the year. It is over, and I gotta say, it unfortunately went the way we kind of thought it would. Unfortunately, it was an okay card at best. It started out really hot with the prelims actually being really good, better than the main card. Kind of started to fizzle a little bit in the prelims, and then of course the main card itself was not that good, to be perfectly honest with you. But I will say this, at the very least, once again, in January, I think in the last 6 years, I am correct on the main event for the pay-per-view in the last 6 years in January. I didn't bring that statistic out in my video, my breakdown video, because I felt like, oh man, this is the first time it's going to fail. But I'm pretty sure in the last 6 years, every January pay-per-view, no, I think there wasn't a pay-per-view one year, because I think it was the one that got canned. Whatever the case is I'm always right in January for like a long time. So let's break down the fight. First fight on the card was Malcolm Gordon versus Jimmy Flick. Jimmy Flick and Malcolm Gordon, oh boy. I thought this would be a trash fight because, again, I said, you know, they're trash fighters, but they put on a pretty solid fight overall. Malcolm Gordon throwing a lot of volume, really went after right from the start, but Jimmy Flick managed to get the submission. All it took was one slight mistake from Gordon, and that's it. Also, don't have a ton to talk about this card, so it's going to be a quick one. It's also in the middle of the morning for me, basically, at this point. God, this card went on for so long. Jasmine Jasnovikius versus Priscilla Cachoeira. I had Cachoeira to at least go the distance to get her ass beat, but oh man, she had some flashbacks of the Shevchenko fight. Jasmine Jasnovikius landed at an 81% clip. She landed 326 strikes out of 398. Cachoeira landed 26. There was a 10-7 round through in there. Absolute domination. 3 submission attempts, one being in the submission to got her. That was straight up a full-on ripoff of Priscilla Cachoeira versus Valentina Shevchenko. I don't think Cachoeira is going to be continuing after this, to be honest with you. Johan Lenice versus Sam Patterson. Sam Patterson managed to win the fight. It was a more grappling heavy fight overall, and he managed to get the round 1 submission. Very surprising. Johan didn't really get to showcase his power, to be honest with you, at all. Sam Patterson really kept it close to him, so yeah, not much to say on that one. Next fight's going to be Jillian Robertson versus Poliana Viana. I lean more towards decision, but I did officially pick submission because I said on the ground, Poliana Viana is just lost. Her striking is better on the feet, but otherwise she's absolutely lost. I didn't think of ground and pound because that's exactly what happened. Jillian Robertson got her on the ground. She did get credit for one submission attempt, but for the most part, she was just beating the living crap out of her. She cannot last with Jillian Robertson on the ground, and Robertson got the finish for Canada. Boy, Canada as well too. They did not do good. They didn't do good at all. Next fight is going to be Sergey Sidney versus Ramon Tavares. Wow, I really underestimated them. I thought this would go exactly the same way as the first fight, because the first fight was not long ago. It's not like they had tons of experience to change, but it turns out they did, and it went the exact opposite. Before, it was Sidney who won by round 1 knockout. This time, Tavares won by decision, which tells me we need a trilogy. Just have them run it right back. Come on, it was a good fight. I really didn't think too much of this fight, but again, it was a pretty solid fight. I'll be honest with you, the main event won fight of the night. I only think it won fight of the night just because of the high profile. I thought it was a basic Sean Strickland fight, to be honest with you. There's a little bit more finesse on it thanks to DDP, but other than that, it was not that exciting. But yes, Ramon Tavares versus Sarah Sidney, that's my fight of the night, and Tavares won it by decision. Charles Air Jourdain versus Sean Woodson. Sean Woodson won by a decision. A pretty lackluster fight, to be honest, dude. This is where the card kind of fell apart. Woodson had amazing defense and he had enough offense to eke out a win, but he really didn't fight as if though he was really trying to finish it. Hence why at the end of the fight he thought he lost the fight, which goes to show you, man, he really didn't put the pedal in the metal. But also Charles Jourdain, he tried everything he could. He simply couldn't breach Sean Woodson's defense. It wasn't a lack of like Charles Jourdain trying. It was just he couldn't do anything. He tried mixing it up. He tried taking him down. He tried everything he possibly could. But overall, nah. Woodson just picked him apart from range and won a decision. Yay. Brad Katona versus Garrett Armfield. I expect this to be a little bit more explosive, but Brad Katona really didn't have answers on the feet for the boxing of Garrett Armfield. Like, man, dude, he won the Ultimate Fighter twice, comes out against Garrett Armfield, and what does he do? Again, he fails Canada. The leg kicks were there the whole time for Brad Katona, but he couldn't capitalize on it. Garrett Armfield overall had the better success when it comes in the striking realm. He was landing better shots on the feet. It really didn't go to the ground, even though Brad Katona tried and got it to the ground a few times. It really didn't stay on the ground very much, and Garrett Armfield overall won it on the feet, and he won a decision. And Mozavar Evloev versus Arnold Allen, the only fight that went the damn way I thought it was gonna go on the main card. I only went 3 out of 5 fighters right, and I messed up on all of their methods of victory except for this fight. Mozavar Evloev, he is now 18-0, 8-win streak in the UFC, and he beat Arnold Allen by decision. A lot of people are calling this fight a robbery. It is not a robbery at all. This is exactly how the fight should have went. The main thing is, people look at the fight and they look at, oh, Mozavar only got more takedowns, but Arnold Allen landed more shots. Arnold Allen landed more significant strikes by increase of 1%. He was outstruck in total strikes, but again, that didn't really mean much. There wasn't a lot of events on the feet, so ultimately we just have to look at what went on the ground. Yes, we're not supposed to score takedowns over damage, and he went 5 for 17 in terms of takedowns, Mozavar. But the thing is, he got 5 takedowns. Arnold Allen didn't try any, he didn't have any. He had really nothing there. He had one submission attempt, the ninja choke, but didn't really do much with it. Overall, Mozavar and Arnold Allen did around the same when it came on the feet. It was just low volume for Arnold Allen, and the only difference is Mozavar had the takedown. So that's why he got the decision. Don't think that was a robbery at all. How the hell did this fight go to this distance? Chris Curtis versus Marc-Andre Barriault. Marc-Andre pretty much just tried to box him out. No takedown attempts. Simply put, Chris Curtis just ultimately outboxed him with his counter striking. He won it all in his counter striking. Marc-Andre is a lot tougher than I expected. His nose got busted up pretty bad in the first round, but beyond that, he toughed it out. Chris Curtis was going some good shots to the body. Marc-Andre Barriault was taking over in the third round, but ultimately, I gave it to Chris Curtis. I thought he won that fight, and I thought he won on his counter striking almost exclusively. And I present to you, ladies and gentlemen, the upset of the year. Oh, the first upset in a pay-per-view. There was an upset last week, but Mike Mallet, I thought he would be the one Canadian to get it done. I really thought, like, if everyone else couldn't, I thought Mike Mallet would do it. But Mike Mallet was knocked out in the third round by Neil Magny. Neil Magny knocked you out in your... Oh, my God. Neil Magny is a decision king, my boy. How are you knocked out by Neil Magny? Essentially what it is was he just gassed out. That grappling exchange and the scrambles that Magny had was just too much for Mike Mallet to just keep up the pace and pressure. Man, Neil Magny has 1-1, lost 1, 1-1, lost 1, 1-1, lost 1. He just keeps exchanging wins and losses for the past 2 years. Almost 3, but he got 2 wins in he got a win against Neil and Griffin back to back. Oh my God. Ultimately, you look at this though, it's all decisions. It's all decisions. The only time he loses by submission. Last time he got a finish on someone was against Daniel Rodriguez. That's fine. He's a decent grappler. But the last time he got a KO? Last time he got a KO was Craig White in 2018. Mike Mallet, his hype, his stardom, who they were trying to build him up off of Neil Magny, it's gone, it's done, it's evaporated. He's 32 years of age. That's it, and it's a shame. It's a sad shame because Neil Magny is going to do nothing with this win. He's probably going to go on to lose his next fight and probably keep fighting, honestly. He really pushed the jab on him, but like honestly, Mike Mallet was having the same success Ian Gary was having with the leg kicks. But again, Ian Gary's a better fighter than people think. A lot of people are shitting on him, saying they want him to get knocked out, but Ian Gary's a solid fighter. Mike Mallet, unfortunately, was not able to get past the gatekeeper, Neil Magny. I don't want to say much about this fight. I was on the wrong end of it. Raquel Pennington wins by decision. I had Mayra Bueno Silva by finish, but it was a pretty boring fight. It really was. Mayra Bueno Silva just completely gassed out, and she just stopped listening to her corner. She kept initiating clinch strikes, where that's Raquel Pennington's world. Now, if she was able to get submissions, which she attempted quite a few submissions, then yeah. But the thing is, she wasn't able to get them. Raquel Pennington's defense was too good. She needed to focus on her striking realm, but Mayra Bueno Silva's striking defense constitutes just grabbing your arms to keep your head in the center line. So Raquel Pennington was able to land jabs, overhand rights, and hooks, and she was able to box her out, land a ton of strikes, high volume output from Raquel. Then again, a lot of it was in the clinch again. But to be fair, even though Raquel Pennington is normally the boring one, I will say those last 2 rounds, Raquel Pennington tried to stand and box with Mayra Bueno Silva, but Silva was the one initiating the clinches where she clearly did not have the advantage in. So ultimately, Raquel Pennington is your new women's bantamweight champion. And I just got to tell it like it is. The division's dead. It's really dead. Like, I don't want to root for Juliana Pena. I don't want to, but like, do I really care about Raquel Pennington? No. I don't really care about Juliana Pena, to be honest with you, and that's your next fight. Beyond that, you have Irene Aldana, Ketlin Vieira, Holly Holm. Holly Holm is still ranked. When was Holly Holm a champion? She champion was in school. I think she lost her. She probably was a champion back when I was in college. I swear to God. I have to look it up, but it's... What do you do with the UFC bantamweight, women's bantamweight division? You can't really do much with it. The division is really gonna go nowhere because you have people who won the belts back in 2015. Oh my God, I was in college. Jesus Christ. Yeah, you have someone winning the belt back when I was in freaking college, and now they're still ranked. Yeah, the UFC women's bantamweight division, it's not gonna go anywhere. It's a shame, but that's just simply how it is. They need to find someone like Amanda Nunes, but they can't. They simply can't. And the main event, Dricus du Plessis has defeated Sean Strickland. So many people are saying Strickland this, Strickland that. I got into so many arguments with people saying, nope, Strickland's gonna get it. All my friends were on Strickland. I knew it'd be Dricus. But I will be honest, I can't take credit for how he won. I told you guys, I really looked at the style, and I looked at this, and I listed as Dricus du Plessis as my lock. But I have my lock as finish only. I had Dricus du Plessis as my lock, and I stand by it, and I think it's like, it simply put, again, all the things I said about Strickland and how Dricus beats him were exactly what came to pass, minus the finish. I didn't think he'd get much success on the ground. He did land some good takedowns, actually. He did have a 54% takedown accuracy, which is nice. But the main thing is power. Yes. You look at the stats, you're like, wow, Strickland out-volumed Dricus. Yeah, by 3%. Literally, he landed 3% more than Dricus du Plessis. That's not enough. What it boiled down to, and what I said was Sean Strickland's main weakness, he has excellent forward pressure defense. When he is pressuring and he's in your face, his defense is not impeccable. And he was jabbing out Dricus so bad, closed his eyes shut. He was just jabbing him to pieces, and Dricus couldn't get in there. But the thing is, Dricus had unrelenting finishing intent, even though he didn't get to finish, unrelenting determination. He was always going to be moving forward, and because of that, Strickland wasn't able to get as much of his jab offense as he wanted to. He wasn't able to get as much of his defense out there. And when he's on his back foot, his defense boils down to flailing his arms out and keep moving his head straight back in the center line. Dricus was able to start timing those with overhand rights and high kicks. Now, Strickland worked on his defense a little bit, so he wasn't able to get knocked out from them, but Dricus was able to land bigger shots. Eventually, he was able to gash him open, and that gash was a beautiful visual for the judges to tell him, hey, Dricus is landing more. Strickland gave up on those teep kicks he had in the middle of the round, and that was his most successful weapon. The thing is about Strickland, and one of the main criticisms, is he tries to fight exclusively off point fighting. You guys, a lot of people hate Israel Adesanya, but the thing is, Israel Adesanya's point fighting was definitive. He would land definitive hard shots that were not knockout shots, but he landed a definitive leg kick, a definitive straight jab, and then he wouldn't get hit. Dricus would do that, but then he'd get tagged up the second like someone puts any pressure on him. He doesn't have any good lateral movement, and because of that, Dricus would start able to time those overhand shots. He was winging those overhand rights on his entries as well too, those overhand lefts too. All that led to Dricus getting overall the W. I thought the fight would go like the Alex Pereira fight did, because I said Dricus, he studies his opponents and he studies how to lose. No, he beat him basically the same way the Cannonier fight went. It went exactly the same way as the Cannonier fight. That's why so many people are calling robbery. You're calling robbery because you really like Sean Strickland. If you look at it, Sean Strickland did not win that fight. It was a very close fight, but ultimately it was still 3-2 Dricus du Plessis. I didn't think he'd win that way. I really thought Dricus would gas. I really did. I knew he had good cardio for 3 rounds because I watched the Brad Tavares fight, and even though he looked gassed, he was still throwing haymakers round 3. Dricus was throwing haymakers to the end of round 5, and he looked beyond gassed, and it didn't matter. In fact, maybe he was a little gassed, but if he wasn't gassed, he would have probably got the finish. Sean Strickland, again, Bilal Muhammad said it best. Strickland really doesn't look like he starts going to the last 4 seconds of a fight. And that's the reason he lost. He tried winning off his jab. And the thing is, he doesn't go or pressure, or throw volume, or really try to go for a finish unless he hurts you with a jab. And that's rare to do. Yes, he did against Izzy, still didn't get the finish. And he did against Abu Samagomedov, got the finish. But beyond that, you can't dictate. Like, you can't just let the jab be it for you. Even GSP, when he jabbed Josh Koscheck to oblivion, once he started jabbing him, he started mixing in more to it that just let him solidify the win. And then with BJ Penn, when he jabbed him to oblivion in the rematch, he started mixing in the takedowns and landing ground and pound. Sean Strickland didn't do any of that. He just jabbed. He literally, my main criticism, he just jabbed. He threw like a few right hands, but towards the end, he just jabbed. Your jab is amazing, Strickland, but you can't let that be your only weapon. Wow, I'm shocked. Dricus du Plessis won. Super won by that. Super impressive by Dricus to keep that pressure and pace all the way to the very end. And due to that, he was able to just land more shots and was able to get the nod over Sean Strickland. And now, Dricus du Plessis and new is your new winner. I believe as well too, the judges, the one that, so split decision, I believe what they were contested on was probably rounds 3, I believe it was, but I ultimately had it Dricus du Plessis as rounds 3, 4, and 5, to be honest with you. But yeah, I don't know. I just ultimately am happy the Strickland era is done. I'm sorry, because that's at the end of the day is I hate how he just fights only by his jab. You can't win fights. Like, you can, you absolutely can. I can't say that, but that's ultimately what just led to his demise against Dricus, and that's why he's a champ now. Now, what are we gonna do? We all know what we're gonna do. I made a prediction video about UFC 300. You know what I said? Dricus wins. They're doing Dricus versus Izzy. Dricus called him out. Izzy's a fool if he doesn't take that. UFC 300, that's either going to be main event or co-main event. I still think they'll put something else above it. I was thinking Alex Pereira versus Jamal Hill, and that makes too much sense, because then you could honestly, if Izzy were to somehow win, I think that'd be a hard fight, but if you were to win, you set up perfectly a Alex Pereira versus Izzy fight. Well, then again, Alex Barrett needs to win too, and I don't think he beats Mago. I think he struggles with both his opponents. But whatever the case is, I think that's what they want to do: get Izzy and Pereira on there. But I think they could also do something with Aspinall. But whatever the case is, I really feel that the middleweight title, it's going to be on the line at UFC 300. I'm almost certain of that, and it'll be Izzy versus Dricus. Hamza, he needs one more win. Nope. I won't take it. I will not take it. He needs one more win. He beat Kamaru Usman short notice at middleweight. No. Had he beat Paulo Costa, I'd be okay with it, but no. And then it was a very controversial fight. He gassed. He didn't look dominant. So I don't think that gets a title shot. And also, I don't think we do a rematch with Sean Strickland. He didn't have enough title defenses. Yes, it was a very close fight, but dude, we save instant rematches for long reigning champions. So yeah, ultimately, I went 3 for 5, like I said, on picks for fighters. Methods, I went 1 for 5. But yes, Dricus du Plessis is your new champion of the world, and that is it. Please let me know what you think in the comment sections down below. This has been your boy Gomi. Bye-bye.